Prince Aurelian wore his power the way he wore everything else, bare-shouldered beneath black silk and gold, as though daring the court to look away first. His hair fell loose and dark past his collarbone, his eyes the molten gold of a thing that had never once needed to ask permission. When he walked the marble halls, gold cuffs catching the torchlight at his wrist, servants pressed themselves to the column rather than meet his gaze. Mira did not press herself anywhere. She had copper hair she refused to fully tame, a stubborn braid always escaping its pins, and eyes the color of a hawk's, sharp, assessing, entirely unimpressed by titles. She had come down from the hill villages to work the palace laundries, all sun-browned hands and a spine that didn't bend the way Faye expected human spines to bend. "You are new," Aurelian said the first time he noticed her, the way one might notice a stone in a boot. "Try not to be memorable. It will go easier for you." "I will do my best to disappear, Your Highness," Mira said, not lowering her eyes. "Though it seems to manage that trick yourself, vanishing every kindness the moment someone might see it." The court went silent. No one spoke to the prince that way. He looked at her for a long moment, gold eyes narrowing, not in fury, she had realized later, but in something closer to surprise, and walked on without a word. It became a war fought in small cruelties and smaller defiances. He mocked the calluses on her hands. She pointed out the strain behind his easy smiles. He told her she understood nothing of court magic. She told him court magic had clearly taught him nothing of mercy. Each exchange left her furious and a little more awake than she had felt in years. The trouble was the dragons. They roosted in the cliffs above the palace, vast and ancient, bound to the loyal line by old magic that ran in Aurelian's blood like a second pulse. When the king fell ill that autumn, the court magic frayed, wards flickering, hallways rearranging themselves at night, the great worms growing restless in the stone areas. Aurelian could calm them, walking armed into their den, gold bands humming with inherited power, while the rest of the palace held its breath. It was Mira who found him after, collapsed against the cliff stone, the binding spell having taken more from him than he had let anyone see. She did not call for guards. She knelt instead, helped her to a shallow burn along his arm, and said about disappearing nothing. "Why?" he rasped. "Are you helping the man who's been unbearable to you for a month?" Because the unbearable man just bled himself half empty, so a mountain of dragons would not take and wake the whole court in flames, and didn't tell a soul. She met his eyes, fury and something gentler tangled together. "You would rather be hated than seen needing anyone. That's not strength, Aurelian. That's just a different kind of cage." No one called him by his name, unbowed by title. He stared at her as though she had struck him somewhere old and tender. "You don't know what's required of me. Then teach me." instead of performing cruelty at me like it's armor. So he did, slowly, suspiciously, then without reservation. He showed her the old court magic, the binding songs that kept dragon and crown joined across centuries. She showed him laundry room laughter, village stubbornness, the particular fearlessness of someone who had never had a title to lose. The hatred between them didn't vanish so much as turn inside out, revealing something it had been hiding all along. It wasn't the dragon roost, golden evening light spilling between black wingspans, that he finally reached for her, not as prince to servant, but as a man reaching for the one person who had ever told him no and meant it kindly. I've spent my whole life feared, he said. I don't know how to be anything else. You are, Mira said, fingers curling into the gold-edged fabric at his shoulder. You just needed someone too stubborn to leave when you tried to prove otherwise. The kiss, when it came, tasted like victory and surrender both. His hand carefully at her jaw despite the cold in him. Her fingers anchoring in black silk as the eldest dragon lifted her hand and crooned low. Ancient magic recognizing what the court had been too blind to see. By the time the king recovered, the binding songs had shifted to include a new note, fierce, copper bright, entirely unwilling to disappear. Aurelian made certain the whole court heard it. The maid, who had once been told to vanish, became one person at court no one could look away, least all the prince who had spent a season trying not to need her, and the rest of his long fair life grateful. The end.
He wore his cruelty like gold at the wrist. She wore her fire like a braid unkissed. Disappear, he said, a careless decree. I'll do my best, she swore, lying easily. Stone cliffs, dragon wing, a collapsing king. Her sleeve to his collarbone, no announcing. Why help the man who's been unbearable to you? Because cages built of fear aren't strength there.